All right, so today on the deep dive, we are getting into a topic that's way more strategic and, frankly, a little unsettling than most people think. We're talking about the art of psychological influence.
Specifically through the lens of seduction, but not in the way you might see in a magazine.
No, not at all. This is about seduction as a power mechanism.
Exactly. Our source material is this really deep, methodical breakdown of seductive strategies, archetypes, and, actual historical case studies.
And the mission for you listening is pretty clear. This is not romantic advice.
Not even close. This is an analysis of how power is acquired. We're going to unpack the core personality types, the archetypes, and then the four-phase process used to gain total psychological dependence over someone.
Okay, let's jump right in because that core idea is kind of startling. That real influence starts with, what, projecting a specific identity? You have to play a role?
Yes, that's the whole premise. It's about
Yeah.
perfecting a role that is rare, something that stands out from what the source calls the dull, predictable masses.
These are the seductive archetypes.
Right. And we should probably start with the one that's seen as this ultimate disruptive force, the siren.
The siren. So this is pure feminine power, right? Magnetic, a little dangerous, operates outside the normal rules. And Cleopatra is like the classic example.
She is. But the key behavior isn't just about being beautiful. It's about the promise of a fantastical escape from a boring, tedious life.
So who does that appeal to?
That's the key. The siren targets the vulnerability in, say, a powerful man who feels emotionally rigid or just dry. She doesn't just offer an escape, she offers a total suspension of their intellect.
Permission to just let go.
Complete permission to abandon the careful, measured self they've built. That's the hook. She's exploiting the boredom of success.
That makes a lot of sense. So if the siren is all about chaos, what about the coquette? That feels like the total opposite, pure control.
Pure control through withholding, yes.
Yeah.
Their whole identity is being aloof, unavailable, which, makes them seem incredibly desirable.
Because they're hard to get.
Exactly. The coquette gets attention by not giving it. They always seem preoccupied, like they have better things to do, more important people to see.
It almost feels cruel, though. Forcing anxiety on someone, is that intentional?
Oh, it's 100% intentional,
Yeah.
highly strategic. Doubt is the fuel for this archetype. The coquette deliberately mixes desire with withdrawal, kindness with coldness.
And your brain just gets stuck trying to figure them out.
It gets completely stuck. All your cognitive energy goes into analyzing them. So when they finally do give you attention, it feels like this huge prize.
Yeah.
And that locks you into this cycle of intense longing.
Wow. Okay, let's shift to the male side, the rake. Casanova is a big example here.
Right, the libertine, the ideal lover. His whole strategy is to seem sort of non-committal, even careless to everyone else.
But then when he focuses on you,
It's with this thrilling, all-consuming intensity. And the hook, which the source really hammers home, is that he's offering an escape from morality, from routine.
so it's not just an escape from boredom, it's an escape from being proper.
Precisely. Because the rake seems to care about nothing but pleasure, when he focuses that energy on you, it feels incredibly personal, profound. It makes you feel uniquely chosen for this thrilling, amoral adventure.
And then the last one, the star. This one feels more passive.
They are more passive, but just as magnetic. A star is defined by being distinct from the masses. Their main tool is mystery, vagueness. They protect their privacy. They remain an enigma.
So the hook is just projection. You fill in the blanks yourself.
Yes, and it's incredibly effective. They're a blank screen for your imagination. Because you know so little, you could project all your own fantasies, your hopes, your desires onto them.
So just being near them feels like you're in a more meaningful world.
A world you basically created in your own mind. It's powerful stuff.
So mastering one of these archetypes creates the initial pull. But then how do you go from, attraction to actual psychological control?
That's where we get into the process, the 4 phases. This is the roadmap. It's designed step by step to dismantle a person's defenses and create dependence.
Okay, phase 1. Arousing interest and desire. And the first action is just cold. Choose the right victim.
It is cold. You're told to focus on people who are neglected, emotionally incomplete, or, and this is the big one, people who are just yearning for a massive change in their life.
Because they're already vulnerable.
They are already primed for it. They have an emotional void, which makes them incredibly susceptible to a new energy.
And once you've picked your target, you have to, create a false sense of security?
Yes, the indirect approach. Direct, immediate interest, makes people put their guard up. So the strategy is to use subtle things like detached observation, a quick glance.
To make them feel safe,
Yeah,
or to make them not even realize you're interested yet.
exactly. Their intellectual guard has to come down for this to work.
And then comes the move that really hooks them. Mix pleasure with pain. Why is that confusion so important?
Because confusion is the ultimate tool for keeping someone's focus. When you're ambiguous kind one moment, cold the next, excited then suddenly sad, you create emotional turmoil.
And they can't stop thinking about you.
All their energy goes to deciphering you. That constant anxious focus is the very foundation of dependence.
Okay, that leads us into phase 2, leading the victim in. This is about entering their world.
Yeah, and the key here is that it's not about you. The seducer avoids talking about themselves. Instead, they tap directly into the victim's deepest desires, their fantasies.
You become what they're missing.
You embody the qualities they wish they had. You become the living answer to a question they couldn't even put into words. It creates this incredibly powerful emotional link.
And this is where the source talks about using details to hypnotize.
This is critical. It's about paying obsessive attention to the tiny details about the victim. Their clothes, opinions, the way they talk. This focused attention makes them feel seen, truly understood in a way nobody else ever has.
That focus is the spotlight that disarms them.
It completely disarms them. It draws them into this almost hypnotic state where all they can focus on is you, the seducer.
So their defenses are down, there's this powerful bond. Now we're at phase 3, the climactic plunge. This sounds like where you have to take a big risk.
You do. Once the victim is invested, right on the edge, the seducer has to break through that last bit of rationality with a sudden, decisive, theatrical action.
What does a theatrical action even look like?
It could be a huge, risky gesture, a sudden confession, something totally unexpected that shatters their routine and creates a sense of irreversibility.
So they feel like they're in on it now. There's no going back.
Exactly. They become complicit in this high-stakes drama, and at that point, they become psychologically addicted to that drama and to the seducer's presence.
And finally, phase 4, the aftermath, managing the whole thing.
Because predictability is the death of seduction. After that huge peak moment, the seducer has to immediately switch to using absence, emotional distance,
They just bang back the longing.
to renew the uncertainty. You can't let them get comfortable or feel like they've won you.
Then what if they try to pull away, try to get some control back?
That's when you deploy the cyclical strategy. You immediately renew the chaos. You manufacture some kind of dramatic crisis, a fight, a moment of intense vulnerability, a perceived betrayal.
You pull them back into the storm.
You pull them back in, and that cycle actually deepens the attachment. The source is crystal clear on this. To maintain influence, you have to keep the target perpetually off balance.
That is just a stunningly detailed roadmap. To really make this stick for you listening, let's look at some of the historical examples, starting with the siren.
Cleopatra. Her story is the perfect showcase. The source points out she didn't just target powerful men, she targeted the lack of self-confidence in men like Mark Antony.
He was a famous general, but his Roman life was rigid, predictable.
Totally. He was susceptible because he was starving for passion, for chaos. He had this huge internal void that she was perfectly positioned to fill.
And the detail that always stands out, that she wasn't conventionally beautiful, that says everything, doesn't it?
It proves the whole theory. Her power wasn't beauty, it was charisma. It was theatricality. She mastered phase 2 by arriving on a scented barge, speaking multiple languages. She was a living spectacle.
She was ultimate distraction.
The ultimate electrifying distraction. She made him feel like, by being with her, he was part of some grand, epic story, not just a Roman politician.
And the source contrasts her so sharply with his wife, Octavia.
Right, Octavia was beautiful, proper, the perfect Roman wife. But she lacked what the source calls that dynamic energy. She was predictable, she offered stability. Cleopatra offered the complete abandonment of self.
Okay, let's turn to Casanova, the master rake. How did he use that idea of indifference?
Casanova was a master of phase 4, absence. He was so focused on the pursuit itself, not the conquest. He often seemed distracted or indifferent at first,
Drawing them in.
and then he'd unleash that period of intense, hyper-focused attention from phase 2, making the woman feel like the only person in the world.
But the real strategy was what came after.
Absolutely. After a peak moment, he would often just disappear, become elusive. This left the victim longing, obsessed with his return, instead of just feeling satisfied.
Yeah.
His whole method was designed to cultivate that anxious focus.
And what about a more modern example? Marilyn Monroe. She's often described as the natural archetype.
Monroe is so interesting because her power was all about duality. She combined this intense vulnerability, almost like a child, with this incredibly raw sexual energy.
How did she even balance that? Vulnerability and raw desire.
Well, she projected the image of this soft, fragile creature that needed protection. And that really appealed to the protector instinct in men like Joe DiMaggio.
But at the same time,
At the same time, her charisma and just her raw physical presence stirred this profound desire. The hook was that men felt powerful protecting her while also being totally thrilled by her chaos. She was the illusion of being both accessible and completely unreachable.
so when you look at all these archetypes and the whole four-phase process, the main takeaway is just unavoidable. This has almost nothing to do with physical beauty.
It's entirely about mastering psychological strategy. It's about recognizing emotional deficiencies, those voids in other people, and then positioning yourself as the solution. You achieve power by engineering desire.
You're creating a whole alternative reality for them.
Exactly. The best seducers, the siren, the rake, they're artists of illusion. They create a dream world that people get lost in, and that creates this devastating dependency because they become the answer to a problem the person didn't even know they had.
And the source material is pretty clear that these principles apply everywhere. Politics, business, marketing.
Absolutely everywhere.
Which brings up a really big question for you, the listener. If these strategies are being used all around us, from political ads to the marketing that targets our deepest insecurities, what archetype does the modern person, the modern consumer, embody that makes us so susceptible to all this? What are we, in this age of distraction, collectively longing for that the modern seducer promises to fill? Something to think about as you start to notice the masters of influence all around you.